Before we get into your reading, I'd like to start by thanking everyone who has liked and commented on the videos, as well as subscribed and donated to my channel. I really appreciate it, you guys. And if you'd like to book a personal reading with me, you can find all of my contact information, including my email and social media links, as well as links to my music and podcast in the description below this video. Okay, let's get into your reading. What do we have for Cancer? Eight of Cups, Pisces energy at the foundation of the reading, Cancer. Cancer, I feel like you're starting to gain perspective. You're starting to look much deeper into your surroundings, the people, places, things in your life, but on a spiritual level. Cancer. I feel like you're starting to look for the meaning in all things. You're starting to think about how it all connects. This Eight of Cups coming in at the root chakra, which represents the material world, the three-dimensional environment that we all live in. I feel as though you are starting to think about how our reality influences the rest of existence. Simply put, Cancer, I feel like you're starting to look at all the little details of your life that can be improved upon, and that I feel you are preparing to do right now if you haven't started already. And this actually makes perfect sense, because this is what this Venus retrograde in Leo is all about. Now more than ever, Cancer, you're really being called to take everything off of the back burner in your life. Start going in on all the little details of your life. Because what we are starting to realize is, Cancer, we are entering into an astrological season where we're being asked to address these things because we are going to be solidified in the energies that we choose to keep in our lives moving forward out of this retrograde. So, with that being said, Cancer, an example of this would be toxic relationships you have in your life, whether that be friendships, romantic relationships, always ending up at what feels like the same kind of job, families for a lot of you as well. Whatever it is, Cancer, you're really being called to put these energies where they belong, however you see fit and however that shows up for you. Now more than ever, it's time to focus on solely you. We need you to be the absolute best you can possibly be moving forward from this point. Not tomorrow, not next week, not next month, but right now. Now is the time to go to work on all this, Cancer, and it really is the perfect time for it because we're supported astrologically. So where you may have felt resistance in some of these areas of your life in the past, or had a complete lack of motivation to put one foot in front of the other and address these things, you'll find that if you just simply take the first step, the universe, the divine, God, will grab you by the hand and give you some reinforcement and encouragement energetically to bring the necessary changes into your life. This is nothing short of a complete spiritual rebirthing and an opportunity for you to step into an entirely new season, an entirely new energetic portal in your life, Cancer. What do we have at the sacral, please? The Star. Aquarius energy at the sacral. And this is what this energy brings, Cancer. Miracles, hope. This is you having crossed the threshold into this new timeline. And there's this universal connective energy that I'm picking up from you, Cancer. It truly is an energy of alignment. It's an energy of universal support. I just got a message, Cancer, that you need to go outside and do some stargazing. I feel that when you look up into the nighttime sky and stare at the stars, you're going to feel a sense of peace. You're going to feel at home. It's like the energy of a universal embrace. This is to encourage you that you are on the right path, Cancer. You may be seeing a lot of number synchronicities right now as well. A lot of frequency tunneling in your ears. This is very big in the collective right now because of the astrology. You're being called to really flow with these energies right now, Cancer. If you're finding resistance in certain areas of your life, maybe projects you're working on, don't get too bent out of shape, because your main focus really does need to be on your self-care, your self-love, spiritual, mental, physical, all of it. We're in a time of calibration, releasing all which does not serve our highest good. This is what needs to be the main focus right now, Cancer. There'll be a sense of renewal once you're on the other side of these retrogrades, Cancer, if you do the work and you don't falter on your path. There'll be this energy of renewal like you've never felt before. In fact, I feel it's more of a rebirthing than a renewal, or a birthing, because I feel that the person you're going to be on the other side of all this is a spiritually evolved version of yourself that you've never experienced. It's an energy of spiritual graduation, stepping through a portal into a new timeline in your life. This can be described as timeline jumping. See, timeline jumping is a result of our manifestations. We set forward our intentions on what it is we'd like to bring into our reality, and then we have to align with that particular timeline where that is an actual reality, where that manifestation exists in our life. Now, we all do this on a daily basis most of the time without even really realizing it, but this one, Cancer, is much bigger than anything you have personally ever experienced before. And this is the same for all 12 zodiac signs. Each one of you are going through a version of this. So to reiterate what I was saying at the beginning of the reading, Cancer, your main focus needs to be on all the little details of your life. All the little things that you think don't make a difference, that's what you're being called to give attention to right now, because you're going to start to realize is all those minute details all compound together to trigger the change. People, places, things, behavioral patterns, addictions. For some of you, it can be as simple as food that keeps you in a low vibration. And it doesn't necessarily have to be junk food. Of course, it definitely can be. But sometimes we have weird little allergies to foods and we just keep eating those things. And it essentially stops us from functioning at our most optimal self. What do we have at the solar plexus, please? Nine of Wands, Sag energy at the solar plexus. Goes along exactly with what I was just saying, Cancer. Nine of Wands is all about putting some distance between you and whatever these things may be. Taking responsibility over these things in your life. Finally getting to all these things you've been putting off. And every single person on this planet is guilty of this in some capacity. There's no one single perfect person anywhere in existence. Every person from the beginning of time has had their vices, has had things they've needed to work on. All we can do is address these things and try our absolute best to bring forward the change so we can become a better person than we were yesterday, last week, last month, last year, 10 years ago. That's it. And that never ends. There's no end to bettering yourself. It's something that's eternal. Because when you think about what evolution actually is, it's just that. It's the universe eternally expanding, eternally becoming more advanced, eternally becoming smarter. And we are incremental pieces of evolution. So, macro to micro, as above, so below. It's exactly the same. We are micro-universes, and when we break ourselves down to our core, Cancer, we find that we work in tandem with the universe. We function exactly like the universe does. There is literally no difference. There's a universal trajectory for all living beings, and it works in tandem with the universe. Your understanding of this and your resilience is what allows you to align with your destiny, your purpose. We have an environment around us that wants us to actually live in resistance. Our minds, our spirits, our health are bombarded on a daily basis as a means to distract us from pressing forward and evolving as human beings. But your persistence, despite any of the setbacks that you may face on your path, Cancer, is alignment, is you calibrating with your higher self, you overcoming the spiritual shackles of this illusion that we all live in, this matrix, understanding that there's nothing more important than our connection with the divine, and that it's that connection, if nurtured above anything else in our material world, allows for the material world to flow with ease, with little to no effort. So in other words, Cancer, as you can see on my table, I have the crown chakra at the top, which represents spirit. We have the root chakra on the bottom, which represents the material world. the three-dimensional environment that we all live in, the 3D density. You see, the root chakra is essentially at war with the crown chakra. This can be perceived as Lucifer and God, yin and yang, light and dark, angel, demon. There's a depth to this that I can't explain in this single reading right now, Cancer. But to try and extract a stripped down version of the message that I'm getting coming through for you, it's you having the awareness that if we stay focused on spirit, connected through our intuition and online at all times while we are in this three-dimensional environment and don't allow ourselves to succumb to the temptations that all of us are bombarded with on a daily basis, you can materialize whatever it is you need to support you on your path inside your material environment. And I can confirm this to be true, Cancer. Most of my life was spent focusing on everything in the material world with little to no connection with Source. I could always feel something trying to connect with me, but if it wasn't in front of me, it essentially had no use to me, completely consumed by the material world. When I had this kind of mindset, I struggled. I could never seem to get anything stabilized in my life. When I went through my spiritual awakening and I decided to release everything in my material world and just allow the divine to carry me to where I needed to be, despite how that may have looked or where I ended up, and surrendering to the idea that I'm ready to be wherever the divine wants me to be. I'm ready to be the person that the divine wants me to be, no matter how that may look. I completely and utterly surrendered. I got to the point where I actually became accepting that if I ended up with nothing, homeless on the street, then so be it, if that's where Source wants me to be. I finally realized that I can't fight my own fate because I spent a lifetime doing that and I lost everything many times over. The divine wanted me to get to the point where nothing inside the material world held any value, and that's truly where I got. I remember during the pandemic, living out of my car with my dog because I lost my home, I lost my business, lost everybody in my life that I knew. Everybody just turned on me when I started to have a spiritual awakening. I started to see things differently. I started to withdraw my energy. It's as if I had woken up inside a hive of demons, and everybody knew exactly what was being shown to me by God, by the divine, about them. So I ended up homeless in my car with my dog during that pandemic. I remember getting to a point where I had $5 and I was trying to figure out how far I could stretch that $5 in hopes that I would find some sort of work. Before the pandemic, I was working as a carpenter. I lost my business when that pandemic hit, lost my work truck. And so during the pandemic, I was floating around from city to city, picking up whatever carpentry jobs I could find. Sometimes I would drive to a city that was 6 hours away, only to make enough money to feed myself when I got there and get enough gas in my car to last maybe another day or two. Literal hand in mouth. But Cancer, what I can tell you is that I found something amongst all of that that is more valuable than anything material that I've ever had in my life. No matter how difficult my struggles were during that period of time in my life, I was actually happier than I've ever been, Cancer. I actually felt free. I remember sitting in my car, counting that $5, and most of it I was putting aside to feed my dog. I figured I can go without a couple days without eating, as long as I had water, but I had a big smile on my face, because I knew that for the first time ever, I was living in a truth that no one I have ever come in contact with up until that point was ever brave enough to live in. Once I started to have that realization, Cancer, the divine started to arrange things in my life. A path of miracles started to unfold for me. Now, 3.5 years later, I'm sitting in a reality that I was dreaming of at that point in time. In fact, I was having flashes of it. God was showing me. I held on to those visions. Sometimes I would take my dog and I would go and lay in state parks on the grass and just look at the sky with the visions of my life, the life I'm in now, in my mind. Sometimes I actually felt like I was actually losing my mind because I was essentially homeless hanging on to a dream. But now looking back, I realized that I was saner in those moments than I had ever been at any one other point in my life. Standing in truth. I'm picking up a similar energy here for you, Cancer. Now your path doesn't need to be as extreme as mine. Mine's just an example of how I've experienced energies to this capacity. Because I'm a reader here, and it's my purpose to help guide, individuals in the collective who are trying to find their way on their path. My experiences have been pretty extreme. Profound examples of the human condition, the struggles that we all face inside this material environment, the Matrix. See, the Matrix wants to strip us of all of our truth. Being bombarded on a daily basis, like I was saying, by all these energies, it buries who we really are amongst a pile of rubble, which can be perceived as all of this nonsense that we consume on a daily basis inside this reality. Who we really are at the core seemingly gets obliterated. They want all of us to lose ourselves. The greatest gift I have personally ever received was the struggles that I told you I went through. That is a fool's journey as well. And I knew that it was coming. I felt it. I knew where God was trying to get me. Yes, I most definitely felt like I was losing my mind, because you essentially are losing your mind. The mind that was programmed into you by the simulation, by these karmic cycles you ran with all these people that were all distractions to keep you away from your purpose anyway. So you're losing the mind that you once had. What do we have at the heart? Seven of Pentacles, Taurus energy in reverse. This just further adds to what I've been speaking about here, Cancer. This is an energy of misfortune. It's also an energy of not having any sort of long-term vision, energy of loss. It can also be an energy of giving up right there at the heart. See, when I went through this, Cancer, everything that happened in my life happened by design. A lot of the people around me at the time, Cancer, were using manipulation tactics on me to push me into a state of poverty. And the reason why this was taking place was all connected to the spiritual awakening I was going through. I became a threat. I was unearthing things from the past, mostly in my family, that people didn't want unearthed. Things that were seen as some sort of character assassination. But character assassination is malicious in nature. It's unjustified. People who were trying to hold up this false image of who they really are, they didn't want their good reputation dirtied up by the things I had to say. They were so threatened by what I was speaking on, Cancer. They came for me using many different tactics, creating roadblocks for me, to the point where I ended up living in my car, homeless, because I decided to leave it all behind, because I started to see all these people for who they truly are and how they connected behind the scenes to create this web and deceit and destruction. They were betting that I would give up on myself. When they started to realize that that wasn't going to happen, then they sent people after me. It just kept getting darker and darker, Cancer. But the point to what I'm saying to you here is that the Matrix, the illusion we're living in, wants you to think that if you don't have all of these things inside your material environment, there's no use even existing if you can't have this, that, and the other. This is very much a problem in our society. People are so shackled to this idea that the material world defines who you are. And in a sense, that is correct, but the way it defines you is not in the way you think. It defines you as essentially being a slave to the 3D density. It's you giving up your connection with spirit. You see, people like myself who have gone through this and come out the other side with a smile on their face, better than ever, now doing better than all of those who came against me combined, being used as an example by the divine on how this is done. What I'm looking at on this table right now, Cancer, is the need for you to have hope, trust in the divine, because I feel that you're going through changes in your life right now that essentially want you to throw in the towel, which should be a clear indication, Cancer, that something is closing in on you, something that is going to elevate you into the next timeline. But you must stay forward focused no matter what struggles you may be presented with on your path. There's no person, place, or thing anywhere on this planet that can disconnect you from divine source energy. There's nothing that can cut that tether. As long as you know you have that connection, you can weather any storm, Cancer. And I'm not just saying this, I've been through it. In some of the details of what I went through, this is such a small percentage of the entire story. It was truly mind-blowing But standing in the space I'm in now, energetically speaking, I see that everything unfolded in this divine order. And all those who came against me cannot deny that either. The presence of God is in our lives. We just have to believe. And don't allow anybody to try and take that away from you. What do we have at the throat, please? Boom. What a card to follow what I just said. Death at the throat. Scorpio energy. This is the phoenix rising from the ashes, Cancer. And I can also tell you, Cancer, that this phoenix rising from the ashes, this energy of transformation and rebirth is very, very real. You're all on the precipice of great change in your lives. You're being primed and readied for this ascension. What you can be doing, what you need to do amongst all of this right now, Cancer, is prepare for the transition. Start releasing these energies from your life, whatever they may be. You're in a time of great shedding and change, a time of endings and beginnings. It's time to let go and start moving on, because like I was saying earlier on in the reading, Cancer, in the next couple of months, you will find that what you are working on releasing right now and what you're working on heading towards is the energy you will be solidified in. So if you decide to stay in the energies you're in, entertain those energies, you will find yourself solidified in those energies. And it will be much more difficult to start moving away from them because you won't have the supportive energy that I was speaking about astrologically that is taking place right now. And this death card is also speaking about what I went through, the process of surrendering yourself to something much bigger, breaking down your ego and letting go of unnecessary and outmoded influences in your life. This is absolutely necessary, Cancer. See, we have to live inside this material world. We can't change that, but we can most definitely change how we live here. We can change the quality of our lives here. We can be fully awakened spiritual beings connected to spirit inside this matrix. Essentially, Neo. Trinity. I'm speaking to a lot of very spiritual, very powerful Cancers today. I can feel you out there in the collective. You're being brought online, Cancer. You're being placed in particular energies inside your communities. You're being prepared for this new season of your life. This is a ginormous energy that I'm picking up on, Cancer. But all I can tell you is, if you let go, Cancer, and allow for this change to flood through, by the end of the year, you'll look back on this time we're in right now, and it will seem like it's an eon away, because your life will be so incredibly transformed that it'll feel like it took a lifetime to happen. What do we have at the third eye, please? Seven of Swords at the third eye. Aquarius energy. A lot of you are starting to recognize the deception, the betrayal in your lives. Some of you are going through divorces. Some of you have just dealt with partners who have had an affair. But there's something very underhanded in a lot of the karmic cycles you've all been running. It's as if you have been made out to seem like you're a fool. You've been walked all over. You've been cast out. You've been tossed away over and over again in some capacity. You've been the subject of a lot of narcissistic abuse. And a very basic example of how narcissistic abuse can show up in your life is when somebody really builds you up, makes you feel really great about yourself. And then without warning, they start to cut you down. It's an energy where they'll idolize you in some capacity, put you on a pedestal, tell you you are the best. Then they'll slowly start to devalue you. This is when they essentially start to take back everything they said in that stage of idolization. Then before you know it, Cancer, they will discard you, having taken everything from you, used and abused you for their own needs. And this is when you are essentially thrown to the wolves. Then, when you manage to pick yourself back up, rebuild your life, they'll start the cycle of trying to come back into your life. A lot of them will spy on you, stalk you. They'll mostly use tactics to where they try to avoid any sort of one-on-one contact with you. because they don't want you to know that they know you're doing better. And they also don't want you to start putting the pieces together. See, narcissistic abuse is becoming something that's widely talked about. So most people know the 4 stages now. And most of us can pinpoint these behaviors in people we know, our parents, our family members, our siblings. And eventually they'll come back through, and the cycle of idolization and devaluation will begin all over again. There's a lot of you out there right now that are listening to what I'm saying to you, and you're realizing that you finally have a definition for some of your relationships. Romantic relationships you have with your parents, friends. See, narcissists are the demons of the world. And make no mistake, Cancer, when you hold an energy like I'm pulling up for you on this table right here, this is a black sheep kind of energy. This is somebody who has been handpicked to do a specific task in this life cycle, essentially chosen in some capacity here to do something very significant for the collective. When you hold this energy, the demons of the world have put a target on your back, and this is how they show up in your life. See, narcissism is a form of possession, demonic possession, but the people who hold this narcissistic possession need to make themselves a healthy vessel for this kind of possession. So they live their lives in a very particular manner that keeps them on a vibrational plane to where it makes it very easy for these spirits to jump into them, possess them, and then come after you. 7 of Swords, Aquarius energy at the 3rd eye. Finally seeing the demons for who they really are. Too many cards. 3 of Swords, High Priestess. Eight of Swords, Gemini energy at the Crown. It's a mental war, Cancer. It's a spiritual war. This is what this is representing at the Crown. Trying to keep you disconnected from spirit. It's like you have a blindfold over your eyes, over your 3rd eye. They don't want you to see them for who they really are. This is very significant. 7 and 8 of Swords back to back. This person's sneaking away, wondering if you're going to wiggle free and see them for who they really are, see what they're doing. It's also an energy that's representing devaluing you, discarding you. This narcissistic energy, stealing your power. Yellow energy, solar plexus, which is all related to your confidence, your personal power. What do we have at the foundation, please? Ooh. 5 of Cups, Scorpio energy at the foundation. Whenever I get this card, this is one of my narcissist cards. See, he's cruising around on his narcissistic snakes of attachment. He throws those at you, right? Pegs you in the heart with that peg, carves out a little hole, then he throws that snake there and sucks back all your high vibrational energy. Person you're dealing with, or maybe if it's more than one, could be a smoker. Could look like that too, kind of wispy hair. Hairy chest, male or female. Mustache, again, male or female. But this is the energy you're moving away from. 8 of Cups stacked with 5 of Cups. This is an energy that's feeling abandoned because they can't siphon your energy any longer. See, a narcissist forces a person into victimhood based off of their behavior. A lot of the time, if we are unaware of what it is we're actually facing, narcissistic abuse, we become a victim unknowingly. When you're a victim, you enter into a space of self-sabotage because now you're holding this energy and you're victimizing yourself. You find that your life just completely starts to fall apart when you hold this victimhood energy. See, this is how these devilish energies will checkmate you, because when you're in an energy of victimization, you're self-sabotaging, so it just looks like you're the one to blame, which you are because you hold that behavioral pattern, but there is a source for that behavioral pattern, and it's because of the narcissistic abuse. So you need to recognize that energy for what it is, move away from it, and then begin the healing. See, these narcissists will keep us in these long, drawn-out karmic cycles of these repeating patterns because we're made to think that something will change, and it never, ever does. 6 months may go by without a big flare-up. But then when there is another flare-up, it's much bigger than the last one. This will keep repeating. And if you allow it, it will go on for decades. I mean, their whole purpose is to have this go on for a lifetime. See, the devil just has to take minutes away from you to succeed at their mission in keeping you away from this energy of awakening and purpose, Cancer. What do we have? The sacral, please. King of Swords, Elagos at the sacral. 3 of Pentacles, Capricorn energy, Ouroboros at the solar plexus. So this King of Swords, this is the narcissist. See, Cancer, these 3 cards, I read these in their detriment. They're shadow energies. They're demons. Okay, so this is essentially King of Swords in reverse. King of Swords, in its detriment, is one of the narcissists of the tarot. This is a very tyrannical, very wicked individual. It can be male or female, but it's somebody who's very cruel, very manipulative, very, very abusive. And it's also the con man of the tarot. So this is somebody who will paint a pretty picture for the outside world, make it seem like there's something wrong with you, using layered forms of gaslighting to make you feel like you're actually going crazy. But behind closed doors, this person is a complete, utter monster, an animal in nature. And this is all because you are the star at the sacral. You have a purpose. You're guided by the stars. Remember what I said, Cancer, about going outside and looking up at the nighttime sky. I feel like you're going to get downloads, you're going to get messages. And then we have 3 of Pentacles, Ouroboros, Capricorn energy of stagnation. Bull in a china shop kind of energy. This is what this energy represents. I'm actually picking up multiple energies here. I mean, this can most certainly be one person, but I'm getting this as multiple people in your lives, Cancer. Each one of them holds one of these traits. Oh, okay, I just heard some of your parents hold all these traits, and then you have friends that maybe hold this trait, right? Always destroy something that you're trying to work on. Maybe this one here, which is this other form of narcissism. Somebody's always draining you of your energy. Maybe that's a romantic connection. But whatever the case, they all hold these energies that your parents, people in your family, authority figures in your life essentially held. This is why you attract these energies, right? Because this energy is unhealed inside of you. You need to heal this. See, what you find is when you start having a spiritual awakening, which is seen as a form of major healing in your life, obviously, these energies don't want you to have spiritual awakenings because they know that everything they've done to you is going to start coming to surface for review. This is when you start to see them for who they truly are. You're essentially healing from all the abuse they put you through. Well, this is a big problem when they're still in your life. Trust me, I dealt with this. What do we have at the heart? Ooh. Astaroth. Fantasism and hypocrisy. This is read as justice in its detriment. This is an energy of shame. Goes along exactly with what I just said, bringing shame to these individuals based off of what your spiritual awakening is illuminating to you. These individuals also refusing to take any forms of accountability, which really just tells you that they knew what they were doing. Because if people acted out this way and didn't know what they were doing, they would most likely come to you and say, I never saw it like that before. I'm really sorry I put you through that. I didn't realize that I held these traits. But Cancer, I have yet to come across a person on my path that has ever taken accountability for narcissistic abuse or this treatment towards another person. Even all the clients that I work with doing personal readings, I've never, ever heard of anybody taking accountability for this level of abuse. I'm sure it's out there somewhere, Cancer, but I personally have not heard about it yet. This is also an energy that thinks it's unfair that you're nurturing this connection with the divine, with Source. They're jealous. which is crazy because it's like a demon saying, how come you get to be best friends with God? I want to be best friends with God, right? But they work for Lucifer. It's just ridiculous, which just is a further indication of where their mental faculties are at. And then we have Riel, Seven of Wands, Leo energy, liberation. So now we go from the shadow energy into the angel energy into the outcome. So demon, angel, okay? Negative, positive. So this Seven of Wands energy is you taking a stand for yourself, Cancer, persevering forward, taking the power back, taking control over your life again, releasing this energy of victimization that they wanted to use to shackle you to this karmic cycle with them. What do we have at the throat, please? Queen of Cups. Perfect. Fahalia. Cancer, Scorpio, Pisces energy. God the Redeemer. Redemption. Serves against enemies of religion. Governs chastity. So this is just an overall energy of healing now. This is the energy you move into, Queen of Cups. You're healing from this narcissistic abuse now. You awaken, you transform, and then you start to heal. And all of that is essentially different forms of healing. But what I found is you really need to remove yourself from these environments, these cycles. Get over into the new cycle, get stabilized, and then you start to really going in on your healing, because you need to be in a space of peace. You can't heal when you're still inside these karmic cycles. It's counterproductive. It doesn't make any sense. What do we have at the third eye, please? Ace of Cups and the Fool. Wow. Ace of Cups, Nathaniel, Cancer, Scorpio, Pisces energy. Rejuvenation. Obtains the mercy of God and gives a long life. God, the King of Heaven. So even though that's a cup, it looks kind of like a trophy, like you've gained something, right? It's like you've calibrated with this higher version of yourself. It's also an energy of spiritual awakening of your path, Cancer. This is what this is all about. And then to close out the reading, the card that I've been speaking on since the beginning of this reading, and sure enough, it comes out, the Fool, Vehuia, the exalting God, will and new beginnings, assists with difficult and great undertakings. This is you taking a leap of faith, Cancer, and this represents your ability to rise to the higher astral realms. It's a spiritual birth, and it's you now being blessed with this wisdom in spiritual matters, Cancer. This is your truth laid out before you. Cancer, this is the energy that's available to you, depending on where you are on this timeline, should you choose to accept. I'm going to go ahead and leave it here. Please don't forget to like and subscribe. And if you would like a personal reading, you can find all of my contact details in the description below this video. And thank you for your donations, Cancer. Take care.